Welcome to the First to Last Nerdom, your nerdy portal to the superheroes, sci-fi, fantasy, and all things geeky. We got enough pop references to fill the TARDIS. Get ready to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. I'm Tom, and I'm here with Mike, and thanks ChatGPT for our intro.
That was a dope intro. I love it. Love it. It's got all the sci-fi nerd get hyped up for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very fun week to get hyped up on too, as we
Hmm.
will soon see.
Yeah.
Um uh
Your
and
yeah, the holiday weekend, even, or week, I guess, so to speak, with the July 4th. We got
yeah,
we got you some fireworks here.
absolutely. Yeah. There were definitely some fireworks and bodies hitting the floor. For
Exactly.
sure.
Bodies hit the floor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so this week we're going to get into Blade of the Immortal.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Takashi Miike
Yep.
directorial. I think that was his
Mm-hmm.
100th film. Many other facts we will get into, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a little cross reference with a little Quentin Tarantino maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or a little bit there. But we've been about doing this here for a minute. And before I stumble and mumble my way and spoil anything, if I sound completely incoherent, all kidding aside here, let's get to
You're
the
not doing a debate, so you're
yeah.
okay.
There we go. Yeah, you get my humor, my friend. You get my humor. Yeah, this is. I just want to go through our bona fides here. We like Tom played us in here. We are the first last nerdom. This is our
Mm-hmm.
primary YouTube channel. 203. This will be 204. We who are we? What do we do? We do the sci-fi comics, nerd culture around those kind of things. The lighthearted side of it, things that we like, new things, deep
Mm-hmm.
cuts, horror too. That's one of a new thing that you have
Yeah.
converted me over to,
Yeah.
which I am forever grateful to
Mm-hmm.
having opened that extra layer or side of
Mm-hmm.
cinematography. That's just awesome. Anyway, I'm nerding out. I'm nerding out. It's for the
Yeah.
we are for the nerdom. We are for the nerdom.
Yeah, yeah. It's like we want to cater. We want our podcast to be like a shop, and they had a table full of nerds kind of sitting around talking. We want it's something you would eavesdrop on, a conversation there, or or gaming convention where someone's sitting around playing games or whatever,
Yep.
and shooting the shit. We want that kind of vibe to play around
Yeah,
with.
and you like what you like, you have an opinion, great. That's kind of how it works. And the more important part is like is you know things I don't, I know things you don't, and then when
Hmm.
we talk about it, guess what? We find new cool things to cover. I mean, like that's us on YouTube.
Hmm.
Then I'm gonna roll down here and hit up the Tom's primary
Hmm.
domain. Here is the Reddit on the Reddit side of the house. If you want to
Yep.
say hi,
Yeah, it's a
Reddit.
it's a we get some views from Reddit, but it's a game of let's see which subreddit will block me this week.
Right.
They don't like
Sounds
for
familiar.
some reason I scroll through Reddit, and I self-attest boomer. I don't understand Reddit, but as you scroll through it, you see all these advertisements for various things stuck in there, and
Right.
then when I want to advertise our channel in a subreddit that caters to what I'm trying to get you to see,
Impossible.
there, yeah, that's spam. Get out of here. Get out of here.
That's spam, or that is account manipulation, or some other creative words to part you from promoting something that
But
you.
this blatant ad for a razor right there in the middle of Reddit, that's fine. That's fine.
Right. Yeah. So we are in fact on Reddit there. Also, Tom is our chief. I guess everybody's really moved over to calling it X. Like I have not heard somebody slip and say
X.
Twitter. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, you
Mm-hmm.
can find Tom on there. He is always open to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Should you want to flag our attention down or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
if you have something that you would like us to cover, that'd be great. Or
Mm-hmm.
even talk about, or something you didn't like that we covered, or like maybe we covered and we weren't aware of something, some cool, fun nerd
Mm-hmm.
little trivia thing that would be great to know.
Yeah.
Um, I am also over my publication of record is the ApeIt.Ink. That's a little bit more wider ranging, a little bit on the heavier side. Sometimes I have fun, sometimes not, but definitely also on Twitter as well. And the Yats, I need to add our paraphernalia here on all the links. That's the link tree for the kids. But this year, or excuse me, this week, before I get too wordy here, we're about 5 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is like our third or fourth Takashi Miike experience, I would say. Um, his movies are not they are movies, but they are an experience. Really good ones are like this.
Right.
This one is no exception to that.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, walk us into this one. What made you want us to cover this one this week?
Well, yeah, it's his 100th film. Although there's kind of a little fuzzy math on that. In that I think they included some of his direct to video movies and some shorter pieces or whatever to bump it up to 100. I think if you actually count out IMDb, that's in the 90 range. This came out in 2017, so. But again, I mean, the guy's done a lot of movies. I can't say that I've seen everything that he's done,
Sure.
but I've seen a good majority of it. And one of the things I can say about Takashi Miike is that no matter what it is, I've seen movies done by other directors of that have done far less movies. And I can always point out maybe one or two movies that director's done and say, that kind of stunk. I didn't really like it. With Takashi Miike, a quality level, it seems like he's up to do anything. And the
You found
quality
this out.
level sometimes varies quite drastically, but I could say every single thing I've seen of Takashi Miike has been entertaining. There's some element of it that is just so off the wall that you go, I can't believe he did that, or wow, that just happened. But yeah, he's always kind of pushing, and he wants to entertain, put out a good quality product, and I think he's more successful the majority of the time. And this is one of those movies.
Seems fair.
It's sort of he's done some traditional yakuza mafia kind of movies, and he's done some traditional samurai movies, and this is sort of an adaptation of a manga. And so it's kind of a traditional samurai movie, but it's got the flavors of a manga as well, sort of that outrageous elements to it that kind of lifts it up into the Miike kind of au revoir, so to speak.
Yeah, no, this one was really fun. I was really excited. I was kind of just talking to you about like when we do this thing, we pick our film or whatever, and then we go see
Mm-hmm.
it, watch it, or show, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch it too early and it's really good, you kind of have to like tamp down the thing to save that conversation for this in real life. So as
Yeah.
we kind of come together here, this was everything that I wanted to see in a film. It just hit a really good spot for me personally,
Yeah.
which it plugs in and it's got samurai, it's got Wolverine, it's got body gore, splatter gore. It's got
Mm-hmm.
and he's unflinching when it comes to all of this stuff. But he
Yeah.
does it in a he does it in a way that adds to the film.
Yeah.
It doesn't shock you. I mean, I guess if you're really
Mm-hmm.
sensitive, maybe, but I think if you're pretty well rounded in these things, then it's
Mm-hmm.
you can appreciate the difference between gratuitous, you
Mm-hmm.
know, over the top violence and something with
Yeah.
art or with another layer with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. No, the basic story is there's a warrior who goes rogue, and he ends up losing his sister in a battle, and he at the end of it he becomes immortal, and he's given a chance to maybe right some of the wrongs, or at least maybe redeem himself his immortality, so to
Right.
speak. But yeah, it's like I said, based off a manga of the same name. I have not read it, and so I don't know. We won't get into, at least I won't get into how authentic it is to the manga. I haven't even kind of looked into it.
Oh yeah, that
Um,
reminds me.
and I'm not sure if there's like a anime as well. But have you kind of looked into the manga any?
I have not, like, no, I not at all. But I did. Oh, they okay. So they have a hard limit on how much you can see, whatever. Like I just brought this up as an example. Like there are
Oh,
other
okay.
places you can go to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you do that anyway. But I only very rough details, facts. I think there's like 30 or 50 volumes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's ongoing. I have no idea when it's started, when it's. I have no clue.
Right. Right. Right.
Beyond that, that's all I know. But I do know that, like, I'm kind of interested in checking it out more, or
Yeah.
much,
Mm-hmm.
much more. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it tomorrow,
Right.
because it wasn't that much of a magnet to me. I'm just being honest. But
Mm-hmm.
it definitely warrants me going back to it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on the list and then rotate around to it, because
Exactly.
a manga is like this really great format that you can really consume, by your phone,
Mm-hmm.
by your e-ink, by your friggin' Amazon El
Mm-hmm.
Cheapo, whatever the hell they call those, the readers, the Kindle readers or whatever.
Yeah. Kindle. Yeah. Kindle.
Yeah. I have one, and I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
half the time it's not charged, but that's not the point. But
Yeah.
it's still cool. It's still cool to find these things. And aside from that, obviously the movie takes liberties and does it in a more shorter form. How
Yeah.
true it
Yeah.
is to the thing, I don't know. Like you were saying, I don't know. I
Right.
just know that I
Yeah.
know
And
they
that.
took enough
Mm-hmm.
quality from it
Mm-hmm.
to make it with
Mm-hmm.
Miike's his vision and his style,
Mm-hmm.
that just draw you in, and it's so
Mm-hmm.
awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And each of his movies are slightly different. He doesn't um I can't there's a lot of his he's never usually credited for the screenplay. So I don't think he actually writes a lot of his stuff. But you see see his style and his imprint on everything. But yeah, that's why he's able to, he could drastically go from, like, say, a horror movie to a samurai movie to a yakuza movie to a kids sci-fi movie. It's all fair game to him, and he puts his energy in to each thing he does. You can see he has a love for every subject that he goes into, even though he's
Right.
done like 100 of these things. He has no trouble of really investing into these things. And I think the structure of this movie is very much like a comic book, because it goes through. It's almost like there's not chapters in it, but there's
No,
you fill the chapters. Okay, we're going to focus on this villain. It's like each
that's right.
section has like a focused villain, and you got your the one guy early on. I called him the Sonic the Hedgehog guy. He has the hair. There's this movie doesn't concern itself with you know how accurate to the time it is, because it's based off of manga, and manga
It
takes liberties as
it
well.
it's designed for you to get in. You're already going at high speed, and you're along for the ride, and it keeps that
Hmm.
speed up through the
Yeah,
thing. Like
yeah, he
it,
is. He has the Sonic hair, and he's fast as
right,
well.
right. Well, and I do want to do justice to the original creator of the manga. We didn't even say who he was.
Oh, okay, yeah, go
Shame on
ahead.
us. Like, and I'm gonna take a crack at it here. Um, uh,
Right, right.
uh, Hiroaki Samura is who created the manga. So
Hmm.
I just wanted to do that. Yeah, and I also brought that up too. It's a samurai movie, which is like a
Hmm.
whole kind of vibe.
Hmm.
That's a vibe, and then but it also has comic book kind of um, like an imprint on it, that
Hmm.
you can see, you can feel.
Yeah.
It has those certain kind of qualities, like where you're in along for the ride, and you're like, you you're obviously in a fantasy world,
Hmm.
he does it so well, and he does it with sci-fi too, and
Hmm.
fantasy, whatever you want. I think it's probably more like fantasy, maybe a little
Yeah.
bit more than that, but dark fantasy, perhaps.
Yeah.
But either way, it's really good.
Yeah, and you could find sort of parallels to other movies that maybe not have been this wasn't inspired by, but are kind of drawing from the same well. Like The Professional, I thought of that while watching it,
Okay.
Or Logan even,
Yep,
sort of
I
yeah,
got that vibe a little bit too at points. I know where you're going. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so yeah, so you've got your Blade of the Immortal, Manji, I think his name is.
Mhm.
He's the Immortal, and then Rin, who comes in a little bit after he's introduced. She's a young lady that her father and gets killed. He is in charge of this dojo, and so Rin wants revenge. Her mom's taken, her father's killed, and so she goes. This helpful little 800-year-old Yoda like lady who gave his gave Manji his immortality whispers in her ear,
Incredible.
yeah, there's this immortal guy that might be able to help you out, get your revenge. So she just happens to look like his daughter, or not daughter, but his sister
Oh,
that was killed. So yeah, and she's played by the same person. I didn't realize. I thought maybe she was, but yeah, she just has a little bit different hairstyle than her
right
than
on.
his sister. But yeah, interesting fact about his kimono. Um, the symbol that it's supposed to be is actually a swastika. Uh,
I saw that when I opened the book, and then it had a page explaining why that was. I
yeah.
suspect, and I was like, "That this is before the camera was rolling," and I was thinking to myself, "Yep, that's good that good that I saw that." Not that we care, that we give a crap or whatever, but at some point
Right. Mhm.
we'll release this on an audio only
Mhm.
side of the house for people who want to listen, follow
Yeah.
along, as it were. But yeah. But anyway, go on, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. I forget what the swastika means. It's like a peace or something like that. But yeah, it actually has a deeper meaning than what the Nazis went on to
Well, obviously.
lay upon it. But yeah, so they changed the symbol a little bit for the movie.
Made for TV,
Yeah, exactly. Just so it won't offend certain people's eyes.
which is
But
probably good when
yeah.
you are a Japanese, like
Uh-huh.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't take away from at all from the
Hmm.
thing.
Yep,
The
and this
important part
is
is how we get to who these people are and what's going on, and because you care,
absolutely.
you actually give a crap.
And this is a movie, so we won't be showing you any scenes from the movie, so we don't want to
Nope.
get struck to hell like we usually do if we show anything Warner Brothers. But yeah, but yeah, it's a action packed movie. There is some wire work, maybe a slight CGI, but it's very heavy on the actual swordplay and the skill of
Very good
yeah,
swordplay.
very good swordplay. Yeah. It's very visceral, very real. When you when the sword cuts, it definitely cuts. And but yeah, and there's the and it's so he's kind of working his way to get Rin's revenge through various guys in the bad dojo that has taken over. But yeah, so in each of the characters are sort of those larger than life manga esque characters. Super villains for us Western comic book fans.
Right.
But yeah, each of them kind of progresses. Yeah, I was kind of shocked when I first watched it. This is my second viewing of the movie. How the early on, some of the guys I thought they would save till the end to kill off, sort of his right hand man, get killed off early on. But that makes kind of sense because it has to make way for to introduce some other people in the mix later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's also kind of like a way to watch these kind of things, and with these things being foreign made films, that
Mm-hmm.
like the Western audience might not understand why we do or why they do certain things the way they do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just kind of like let go, eventually you'll come back to it. or you'll kind of figure it out through.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course it also depends on the dubs and if you're doing subtitles or not, because you can lose a lot even with good dubs. It just kind of depends on how you like. Sometimes that can help, like with the like what the hell's going on, but it works if you don't look into it too hard. Like
Absolutely.
it's just a movie. It's A to B to C, A to bloody B to bloody C to bloody D. I should say more or less.
Yeah, and it is, like I said, a Japanese movie, and there's different sensibilities. One thing you kind of have to adjust for is a pacing of a Japanese movie is slightly different than a Western movie.
Yeah.
They may take a little bit more time on certain things or certain aspects. Certain aspects are more important to them than us. There's a lot of they like to, at least I don't claim to be a authority on Japanese cinema, but the ones that I've seen, they seem to concentrate on into the head of the bad guys, maybe explaining their philosophy a lot more. And there's a lot of scenes where in a Western movie, that confrontation between the big bad guy and the good guy. Uh, Usually they save that to the end, but a lot of times with the Japanese movies, they'll have some like conversations with the bad guy prior to that to sort of maybe build the tension, and it's sort of like sometimes when I watch a Japanese movie, like, well, why don't you just attack the guy now? Why don't you finish it up? But then you'd be done with the movie, only
Right.
halfway through. But yeah, there's the scene early on where Rin confronts the evil bad guy. I have trouble with his name. Anatsu, I think is his name.
Natsuya. Yeah.
Anatsu, yeah, he's and but yeah, he
As if I know
she
how to pronounce it any better than you do.
right, but yeah, she runs into him kind of halfway through the movie, and they have a conversation, and he actually explains his side of things, and the one of the things I'm kind of taken with in this movie is that he's not really, he's not like this arch villain that's doing things just to be evil. He has a side to he has a point to what he's doing, and maybe it's a little misguided. But yeah, he's following what he thinks is true to his heart, and
Right.
and in fact, early on, when Rin's going to Manji to hire him to be her bodyguard and take revenge on these people, he asks her, what's the point of revenge? And she says, "I don't care if this is good or bad. I just want revenge." I don't care if this is good or bad. I just want to do this.
Right. No, it's unapologetically violent.
Hmm.
It's visceral in the best way. To being a samurai, film, and
Hmm.
and even better than that too, because it draws you in, and the way that, like you were saying, the way that it kind of does the fights, it does them in this. I did see some criticism that they people didn't like the pacing of it, to kind of touch on what you were saying a little bit earlier.
Hmm.
But I didn't really feel that.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm more patient or less patient. I don't know what that means, but
Hmm.
or what that says about me. But I do know that it was cool to. It's just cool. the, it's just cool that it's just so. It's just nice to see. We have a lot of formulaic, kind of things that will work for the most part if
Hmm.
they're done right.
Hmm.
Like Prey. Okay, Prey was one that we both liked. I mean, it was a
Hmm.
completely different genre, but it played to the strengths of what Predator was. And as I recall, I think we both enjoyed that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yep.
so was it the best ever? No. But was it satisfying? Yeah, for sure. This one, this is better than that because it's its own kind of take. If you watch his films, you kind of know what you're getting into,
Hmm.
and I think that's like where if you're even a little bit more familiar with him, then you can appreciate it. It pulls you in, and it makes more sense
Hmm.
because you're used to
Yeah.
how he does his filming.
Yeah, and shout out to the guy that plays Manji. I'll butcher his name as well. Takuya Kimura. He's a great in this, and I kept thinking that he was in because Miike likes to reuse a lot of his actors, and I thought he had
Mhm.
been in some of his other things, but he this is his first Miike movie, and that actually I was reading where people thought that Miike wasn't going to be able to get him because he's such a beloved actor within the Japanese culture, and but yeah, I'm glad that they got him because he's marvelous in this movie. And one of the things I can't read people's at least Japanese people's age. I mean, I thought the guy maybe in his 30s, maybe early 40s. He's my age. I was like,
Oh, no way.
yeah, or maybe a couple of years off. But yeah, I was like, man, I couldn't do that at his age or what he's doing. But yeah, he's it's very action oriented. And then Rin, who I think maybe is playing very young in this movie. She's actually 20 when she filmed this.
Really?
So yeah, it's
Pretty
like
cool.
I was off on both of their ages, but I think that's sort of place to the movie because you want a guy that is kind of ageless because he's immortal.
Right.
So you want a guy that's maybe a little older but looks young, and then Ren, who does she is incredible in this movie. She does a great performance, and I was thinking that she was a much younger actress. I was thinking I was giving her way more props. She's still really good in this movie, but yeah, I was maybe leaning more towards wow, this is amazing for such a young actress. But yeah, she's really good in this as well. But I think the age play there is good as well. That kind of agelessness between the two of them.
Well, right. Well, it draws you in more, because
Hmm.
she's beauty and he's beast.
Yep.
I mean, and not necessarily like that, but
Hmm.
big brother, little sister, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, and that.
Definitely like a familial kind of
Hmm.
thing of like,
Hmm.
which is another kind of aspect or layer you can get into about what is family, you know, um, family or if we define family by people who help us when we're in need,
Hmm.
that can certainly be maybe
Yeah, and
really fun.
I love that's another thing I like that family aspect of it. That it truly does play off as a older brother, younger sister kind
Right,
of vibe to it.
right,
He's constantly telling her to shut up, stupid,
right.
and things like that. And she's trying to play up to his to play the strings of that bond to get him to do the things that she needs him to do, and which isn't hard because he sees his sister within her, and is very protective of her, even though he does at first he's kind of standoffish and even kind of
Distant
tries
degree.
tries to be repellent to her and to push her away just to see her resolve and also his resolve into wanting to do this.
Right, to
It's
test her seriousness and what this really means. Right.
hmm absolutely, because his real sister was so totally gone when he was trying to protect her that yeah, she was gonna end up dead somehow because she wasn't there. Even when she was in mortal danger, where he
Mm,
was facing 100 assassins at the beginning of the movie,
right.
she was clueless there, and so yeah, she was sort of a burden to him at that point. A love burden, but yeah, I guess with a lot of family members that become, you know, not all there. Unfortunately, yeah, that becomes kind of a weight to you. But yeah, and also another thing I love about this movie is I would have loved for it to have been completely black and white. I like how it
Hmm,
started off black and white, sort of maybe to an
interesting.
ode to the manga.
Sure.
What has taken in place in the past is in black and white. But yeah, it's I love that contrast, but modern people don't like black and white, so of course it has to segue over into color. I always think of when I think of the movie, I think of it as a black and white movie, and then I'm always shocked when it switches over to color. It's like, oh yeah, most of the movie is in color.
Right. Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. Now I'm gonna have to go back and look. See, this is the other thing too. Like at some point, I want to do some clips of our show covering it with maybe our voiceover talking about it, just like we are
Yeah.
now. Something along those lines. Yeah,
Hmm.
I like the splashes of color. Kind of going back to that, also the way that I see it anyway is the way he frames the shots. Like when they first meet each other, you kind of see that distance, and then as they progress, they get closer together.
Hmm.
As a not subtle, kind of closing the distance between the other, and like becoming more trusting and accepting of this, person to be my protector and that they have my back,
Hmm.
kind of thing. So I did appreciate that, and that's typical in all the scenes too.
Hmm.
I appreciate the wider shots showing
Hmm.
how effed they are, or
Yeah.
would be presumably,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, and I love how he switches everything up. Like, there's a lot of handheld stuff in this movie.
mhm.
There's a lot of like wide scope things and some things that really get in there. It's whatever the shot needs, whatever that scene needs, he adapts to it, and yeah, to have that flexibility to kind of jump around
With
and
the humor too.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a fun, like I said, there's this entertaining, fun vibe to all of his, for most of his movies. Some of them are kind of darker and take a more serious tone, but this one really plays up. When it needs to be serious, it does become serious. But when it when things get a little bit more kind of outlandish and kind of crazy, he doesn't mind leaning into those aspects as well.
No,
He
not
has
at all.
a good sense of how far you can go without going overboard, and you could go pretty far without breaking breaking the movie, and he really has fun. And like I said, I don't know how true a woman during that time would have bleached blonde hair and a guy with sunglasses. I guess it just looks cool, and that's I'm sure that's the way they looked in the manga, so he made it true to the manga. And this guy right here, we won't get too much into him because of spoilers, but
Right.
yeah, it's he's he's a very entertaining, very entertaining guy.
To put it mildly. Yeah.
And I did get, I'm the physical media guy, so I've got the Blu-ray to this movie, and I got the Blu-ray not too long off after I'd seen. I was very. This was one of those movies. Maybe because it was done by Warner Brothers, it was heavily promoted, and a lot of people were talking about it on social media at the time. It came out in 2017, so I was very hyped to see this. And so when it became available to rent, I think on Amazon, I quickly rented it,
Okay.
and then the Blu-ray came out not too long after that. So I picked up the Blu-ray, and since I'd seen it just so recently, so I got to. That's why you have a Blu-ray. You whenever you want to watch it again, you can pull it out. So I pulled it out, watched it, and there's actually 2 hours worth of behind-the-scenes stuff on that. Which I got to enjoy for the first time this weekend, kind of going
That is
over
cool.
all of that. And actually, there's the big fight scene where he fights 100 people at the beginning of the movie, and then at the end of the movie, there's a fight with 300 people,
Right.
and they faces off against 300 people, and they did a little thing on that. That took 12 days to film. That fight scene,
That's cool.
and you don't think about it, but they filmed it in January, at the first part of January, and these guys are running around in these thin kimonos during January in Kyoto, I think it was, and evidently it's pretty cold there. So,
Yes,
so yeah,
it's what
and
I've seen on National Geographic and other films about and things about, documentaries about Japan that I've caught here and there, like anybody else.
Yeah,
YouTube is your friend.
so yeah, you kind of feel for them as the filming went on, and also during that, evidently Miike had broke his foot because he was walking around in crutches,
Oh,
filming that. So yeah, there was a lot of funness going on there in that. But yeah, one of the things I kind of really kind of got me through watching the behind the scenes is that Kimura, who plays Manji, he was very, they have obviously you got Miike directing, and you have a stunt coordinator as well that's um, doing the fights. But Kimura is, I guess, such a has done so many movies with fights and whatnot.
mhm.
During those scenes, he's you see that with him with the actress who plays Rin. He's like there's a scene where she's training and she's throwing these throwing knives, and he's directing her. He's going, look more towards your target when you do those, and when you do it, kind of cross your hands. He's being very helpful. And then there's a scene where they jump out a window and they tumble, and as they land, when he's landing, he's telling her how to land so she doesn't hurt herself and stuff. And I was thinking, well, there's that brotherly love is kind of translating off camera as well. But then I watched some scenes where he's fighting the various villains of the movie, and he's actually telling them, he's coaxing them through how to improve their performance as they're doing the fights. And I'm like, man, this guy is very selfless. He's not only is he trying to do a good job, he's trying to improve everybody else's. And I the camera because it's very not looking to the camera. Look, I'm helping these guys. No, it's just
Right.
his in his nature. And in the interviews, one of them said that yeah, he's almost selfless in that he's really trying to help others, without thinking of himself. And that's I've seen that 2046. That's a great movie as well that he's
Yeah,
in.
I saw that, and I it just drew my eye to it, and
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
I'm gonna save that for later.
yeah, that may be something we cover later. It's a interesting
Okay,
sci-fi movie. But yeah.
I knew
Um
it. Yeah, always got an eye looking out for it. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Oh,
But
cutie cute.
but yeah, so that actor, I got a really good impression of him through
He is good.
through the behind the scenes stuff. And also he was in a boy band. So
I saw a couple
in his
music videos credited to him, and I figured that was maybe that's a Asian, Southeast Asian thing or whatever.
yeah, I forget the name of the band, but yeah. So if you guys out there are into J-pop, you might want to look into it.
Yeah, J-pop and K-pop are they're taking the suburbs by storm, in
Absolutely.
in the parent class anyway, and the Korean dramas too. That's also a thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, that's very action packed. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into the fights because I guess it kind of gets into the spoiler
Well, the
parts of
fights are
it.
the whole movie. I mean, really,
Absolutely.
you're literally going from like and maybe this is why it was so comfortable for me. I it, not directly, but it kind of took on like how if you ever watched Dragon Ball Z on Adult Swim, Cartoon Network,
Hmm.
back when it came on, and that of course that was like the first time you saw that, like, which was same as me. My cousin was really into it. He sucked me into it, and then you get sucked into it. But fights are like that. Like it's kind of like that. Like they kind of built. There's a lot of filler. This thankfully doesn't have that much filler, in my
Hmm.
opinion. But it goes from one fight. It kind of
Hmm. Yeah, and
you're,
they
you're
change it up. Not
right.
one fight's the same, so it doesn't. There's not that drag that some movies have. Whereas like, oh
Not at all.
yeah, not another fight. Come on,
Right.
and and even there's like the big fight at the end. There's they're facing 300 people. You have the two. You've got the good guy, the bad guy, and they have to make it's like okay, well, we have to work together to get rid of all these people. But then you have to have the big confrontation. there's all these 300 kind of cannon fodder, so to speak, that have to get you work your way through, but they do it in a way that makes it engaging, and as opposed to, oh well, they gotta get through all these guys, it's
Right.
like whatever. No, they make it very much entertaining. The whole fight, the way they stage it is very good. It's not like your average Marvel movie where it's just a blah screen of
Mhm.
action that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's a lot of set pieces. That's why I was kind of looking for the word set pieces. There's a lot of set
Mm.
pieces in sort of places where they go that makes it interesting and changes things up. And that's to the credit to both, I guess, Miike and there's usually a stunt or an action kind of director in these movies as well. And also, obviously, these things have to be very well storyboarded as well. It just shows you the level that they go through to make these action scenes engaging. And when Western movies take that from Japanese movies, they make incredible movies like The Matrix. You
Oh
say
yeah.
what you will about maybe the story of all of them, but they all have engaging action scenes and rememberable action scenes in these. And Blade of the Immortal is no exception. There's there's a lot of great action and interesting the way they do it in this movie. Going from the Matrix, which is kind of have these outlandish action stuff, whereas this movie, a lot of it's kind of very stuff that you would see in an actual fight, and then but they kind of work in like the cool stuff, like the wire works, so that it doesn't look out of place, in this. And then there's some CGI. There's that cool scene where one of the lady villains come out and she kind of reveals herself. She pulls kind of these knives out of the guitar that she has, and the kind of the knives on chain thing kind of flies in the air and it's kind of slow motion. I didn't realize that the part of that she's holding is real. The rest of that is CGI, which makes sense because you don't want this woman swinging around these these blades
Big
that
heavy
may,
knives and
yeah, even if they're kind of foam, it would have maybe knocked her in her head or something.
you're
But
gonna put an eye out.
yeah, exactly. So so
That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah, that's but yeah, certain little things that you wouldn't think were CGI are CGI in this. So kudos for them to kind of working that in to where you don't always want it to be like, oh wow, that's really cool CGI. You want it to be as the movie where you don't even notice it. Is whenever it's, I think, most effective.
Agree, agree. Yeah, yeah. This says it's 6.7. No, I did realize I did load up with some facts about the manga.
Mm-hmm.
One. I just want to kind of cover those real quick, just
Oh
credit where
yeah.
due.
Uh-huh.
The Blade of the Immortal won a few awards, including the
Mm-hmm.
Eisner Award and Japan's Media Arts Award.
Okay.
And then his work is heavily influenced by uh, Kishimoto, which is, I guess, another
Mm-hmm.
manga great, perhaps that's the last name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it says that he was in art school, but right, he didn't complete it because he got picked up by a magazine to immediately start work on Blade of the Immortal before he
Yeah.
graduated. So that just kind of shows you that natural talent will shine, regardless
Yeah.
of the school or whatever. Might hone it, but you
Mm-hmm.
got to have the original, the thing. So
Yeah, that's
it's
kind
pretty
of
cool.
what I yeah, I don't claim to be any type of talent as far as writing, but yeah, you kind of have to have that. I noticed that in when I took a short story writing class in college. You kind of have to have a little bit of what it takes to actually
Mhm.
do it. Because yeah, I saw these people that just took it just to see, if they could write, and unfortunately, not everybody can write, and
No.
it's really kind of it becomes blatantly obvious of those that are don't have that little spark, that little talent that would really kind of cater to them being a writer. And it was kind of disheartening. I guess it's with everything that you do. Some people are naturally, say like with mathematics. I'm no, I'm horrible with math, and there's some people that just take to it. So, there's that innate ability that has to be there to really flourish. But yeah, yeah. But yeah, just to get back to Blade of the Mortal. There's one thing that really kind of put me off on this movie,
What's that?
and that is the guy that shows up that has the hairy sword that had the sword with the on the back part had like kind of
Okay.
fur on it. That just kind of unnerved me for some reason, and I didn't look into it. But is that a thing, or was that just
I don't
there
know.
for the movie?
I kind of just took it as just some outlandish parts like here or there you're gonna pick them up, but
It seems kind of unsanitary. You're stabbing people with this furry sword that you get blood on the. How do you keep that clean?
yeah, you're probably more worried about not dying.
It's the whole practicality of a
Yeah.
furry sword is just kind of threw me off.
I don't. Yeah, right. That's funny.
but but yeah, and also the behind the scenes stuff. All the actors seem to be very enthused to work with Miike, and Miike is the thing that I'm always kind of impressed with him is he's very humble. He when they interview him, he's always talking about propping up the people around him and kind of taking kind of a demure approach to his talent as well. But yeah, he's I always enjoy listening to what he has to say, and yeah, the guy that plays the big bad in this movie, was his first big samurai movie.
Okay.
So yeah, he again the main actor, he helped him along with doing that. One of the things that the main actor said of the guy, he said that he has this very serious look to him that kind of gives this weight. He goes, I don't think I could do that, but but yeah, he is that serious. Which one of the things about the main actor who plays Manji, there's kind of a darkness to that character, but there's a playfulness to it as well. That lightens the movie. The movie could have been very, very dark. We kind of likened it to Logan, which has a much darker feel
It
to it and more kind of somber feel to it. And
has
this
a
movie,
farewell quality to it.
yeah, whereas this movie doesn't. It has more of a playful vibe to it, even though there's kind of a darkness to it, and that really plays with the comic book aspect or manga aspect of it.
Yeah.
That bouncing between dark and light. There's we didn't get into it, but since he's immortal, parts of him can get cut off and come back onto him, and they do play. They don't overuse it like say maybe in a Deadpool movie where it
Right.
just becomes like, oh
A
yeah,
joke or
okay, and
something.
yeah, another part of him falling off
A
again.
zinger. Right.
Yeah, yeah, you
Right.
got me. Whereas this movie, there are a few moments in it like that. That you don't expect because they don't overuse them. So when it pops back up again, it's like, oh, it's like I didn't think about that.
Well,
Like the aspect of him cutting off maybe a part of his arm or a part of it getting cut off, and he's like walking off. It's like, oh yeah, I'm leaving a part of myself. I better go get
right.
that kind of vibe to it.
Well, that's why the humor follows throughout, and they give it. Well, again, comic book kind of over the top, maybe even considered campy to a certain degree in some scenes. Maybe I don't know,
Hmm.
um, but they're redeemed. They're redeeming. They're not kind of off putting or like cringy.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
he has a good balance about
Hmm.
him, which just
Yep.
works. If this were brought over here and they try to put somebody on the case, I don't think it would go very well. But then again, I don't have a high opinion of most modern things anyway. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
it is what it is.
yeah, I think they have to change so much to cater to the Western sensibilities that
Whatever those
it
are of
become.
the
Yeah,
moment, right, or the
right.
quarter or whatever, right,
Absolutely.
or the trend. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That yeah, you lose a lot of the ingredients that made this what it is. When you take those ingredients out, it either becomes bland or it becomes something else. So yeah, it's very rare where you find a movie that is made, a foreign movie that's made that is then remade here, where both of them are good. There's a couple of examples of that, and maybe we could look at that as a future episode. Maybe look at the where we think where we personally think they do a good job of remaking something here. But yeah, for the most cases, a lot of times if we remake it here, it's a very much lesser product, becomes much more bland and sort of it becomes a Western movie as opposed to what makes
Well,
that foreign movie such an engaging and interesting movie. But much like one of my Reddit posters that replied to Old Boy, he said, "I watched the English version because it's in English." And well,
you know,
okay, that's important to you. Then okay, then that. But I think you would have might have found something much more interesting and engaging with the original
right.
foreign language version. But okay, you do
Exactly.
you, boo, as they say.
Yeah. You do you, boo boo. Nothing wrong with that, sweetheart. Honey boo boo. Nope. You go on with your with your good self.
But yeah, I think we may have kind of covered all of our bases on this, unless you could think of something that
Yeah,
we're.
no, it's got good style,
Mm-hmm.
very inventive scenes, action or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Good framing, good blocking. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the where the characters are, or they play their parts, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we kind of covered that a little bit. The kind of short-sighted critics say that it's a little bit too long. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel that way at all. I think it made sense. I think it plays right into how to Miike does his filmography. It
Right,
fits.
yeah, he's done close to 100 or over 100, however you want to look at it. Now, if I was going to, all the people like to do those S tier lists where they have,
Oh,
the
right.
groupings of everything. I don't know if I could ever do that with the Miike group, but if I did, I would probably put it in the upper area, maybe not at the
S tier.
S
I would
tier,
back that. Yeah.
but it is a very good quality movie. Definitely worth watching and recommending, which I did on the getting it on our show here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think we did go over one of the movies that I absolutely love, which was Aichi the Killer.
Killer. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. I think I have been saving his best horror movie for us to go over in the future. But yeah, if you're a Miike fan, there's definitely more stuff that I have in my bag that I'm going to pull out. But this since he does has so many movies, this could quickly become like a Miike channel. So we don't want to do that. We want to cover
Well,
everything. So
we definitely we can have our Takashi Miike series of films that
yep.
we cover and we skate in and out of. So
Yeah,
we
we
can do
could.
whatever we want.
Yeah.
It's our
Last
channel.
year, last year we had our tour of Italy where we
Right.
focused on Italy for a month. So yeah, maybe we could do like a Miike month, or we could do a Japanese movies month or something like that. But yeah, if you guys have suggestions out there,
Please.
feel free to give those to us. But yeah, we're always looking to different ways of improving our channel here.
Yeah, I think we've covered all the things that I wanted to cover. We covered the manga, gave credit where
Hmm.
due, all that good stuff. Yeah, I guess we can do our plugging here, and then we can play ourselves out. But if you've lasted this long, we would really appreciate it. If you could comment, like, subscribe, we would really appreciate if you could subscribe or share us out here. It costs you nothing.
Hmm.
Like the banner says down below, subscribe to us, and you'll get front row access when we publish. And I think once a month or so, I think we do a live live joint kind of main event or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So look for that in the future. I know that I'll be on vacation toward the end of the month of July. I'm very excited for that,
Mm-hmm.
for that
Yeah.
week off. And when I do, I will definitely hop on here. I might even drag Thomas to watch me watch me do horribly on the video game machine.
Yeah.
Um, on the
Yeah, and
on, on the Xbox.
on the Xbox. Oh,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So yeah, it glitch out, and sometimes it unsubs you. So if you find that you're not
Check
subscribing
that.
anymore, yeah, check
Hit
that
that
and
bell.
subscribe us back. Yeah, yeah, because for some reason, it can be good. Sometimes it can be bad, but sometimes it doesn't. Recommend the things I'm subscribed to or following that they don't
Mhm,
always pop up. So yeah,
mhm.
kind of keep an eye out for us. And we're not we kind of snuck past 200 because me and Mike have been doing a lot of stuff solo. I did a review of Gatchaman
That's
comic
right.
book. If you haven't seen that, check that out. And Mike's done some live stuff. He's kind of checked out the Acolyte and it's kind of had some fun with some other topics with involving that.
Yes. Yeah, I had I took the we had your thing there, and then did my little I just did a mid-season jump in cuz I kind of got sucked into it because there's this thing out there and it's like everybody's saying this thing is terrible. Is it really? I don't know. Somewhere in between. Doesn't really matter what
Yeah.
I think because it matters what you think. And the only thing that matters is that you actually get out there and see what you want to test something new.
Hmm.
See if you like it. If you don't, you can rotate to the next thing. That's for sure.
Hmm.
But we are also on Reddit, like I said before at the top of the show, um,
Hmm.
X2, as well as I'm also on ApeIt.Ink. I'm also on Twitter. And the Yats, I'll put that the bona fides are up there. As always, that's in our show notes. And we've been covering this thing for a while now. Let me turn off the banner because it's getting kind of annoying. Yeah, there we go. But before we go, I think I'm gonna turn this
Oh,
one.
one more thing before you get to that. Just for those that are interested, that hung through, that have not seen Blade of the Mortal. I thought it was on Tubi, but evidently, I guess maybe it's no wait.
I think it
I think
fell
it
off of Tubi, but it
it
was
did.
on. Well, I had the thing up here. It's Fling, Flix
Okay.
Fling or something. I don't know.
Oh
So
yeah, Flix. Yeah.
sometimes though, Just Watch doesn't have the most current thing.
Oh, it
You
does.
just kind of
It is on Tubi.
that's
Tubi
right.
and
Okay.
Plex.
Yeah. See,
And then
case in
yeah.
point.
But yeah,
Oh,
a
there
lot
it
of
is. All right, I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, so this does show. This is show Tubi here or
yeah,
Fling.
it
Yeah,
is
it
on
does. Yep.
Tubi.
Cool. Cool.
And
Right
Tubi
on.
subreddit's been really nice to us. When I advertise on that, we get a few viewers from that. So
Well,
hi
it's taken over the
Tubi.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, hi Tubi.
Plug the Tubi. It's free. I mean, you got to watch a couple ads, but who doesn't like free? So
Yeah, and Tubi with the ad or overbearing with that. I found with Plex, Plex is ugly with ads. It is also on
Flex is
Plex if you
it
watch
really
it
is
on.
bad.
Yeah. If you want to watch it on Plex, you do you. Also, there's a couple of it's streaming on a couple of library sites, Canopy and Hoopla. I believe those are ad free, so definitely check those out. If you have a library card, definitely check out doing maybe one of those. It's very simple. All you have to do is put your library card in,
Mhm.
create an account, and you're good to go. So yeah, check those out. And we may maybe look at that. I've got a thing with Canopy, and I need to start watching some stuff on there. Maybe I'll do a quick little video on that just to kind of
Yeah, that'd be
spotlight what you could do on Canopy and what you could see, because you'd be
absolutely.
surprised. You'd be surprised what all's on there. But yeah, so yeah, I'm sorry I kind of railroaded us, but I wanted
No,
to
you're
let
good.
people know because I know Blade or Immortal, it didn't do all that great at the box office. It kind of underperformed what people wanted it to. And I think it's a great movie to actually get out there and watch. And if you've stuck with us until the end here and still haven't seen the movie, definitely check it out. There's plenty of choices, free choices to actually check out this movie.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then if you love it, you can always buy it on Blu-ray afterwards, and I always have a copy of it. Because when I originally watched it, yeah, I think it was streaming on Netflix
Streaming
or
only.
somewhere
Right.
somewhere like that. But then it gets bouncing around, and by the time you want to rewatch it, you kind of have to find out where it's playing, and it might have dropped off there, and yeah, and you're out of luck. So yeah,
Right on.
having a copy of it of your favorite movies means that you could watch it at any time. You have that front row access every time for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. Yeah. I think we're good. I think
Hmm.
we got everything we wanted to plug in here. And we took a stroll through the bona fide, so we're good there.
Hmm.
I'm ready to hit the button if you are.
Oh yeah, hit that button.